allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Don't label us left or right. Are American.
So I'm here today with Lavern Spicer. She is a candidate for the House of Representatives for the 24th District in Florida in 2020. Are you running again in 2022?
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
Are you running again in
Yes,
2020?
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Lavern is also very active in her community. She runs a food bank and is very involved in bringing things into her community that actually help the people of her community.
Yes.
With that, Lavern, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your community involvement and things that you do within the community?
Okay. In 2000, I started a food bank because I saw the need was so great in my community, and at that time it was like little to no services involved in my community in the area that I am. So after starting it, we initially were feeding around 5,000 people a month,
Right.
but now we're doing over 10,000 a month. Last year over 20,000 a month because of the COVID.
Right.
So by providing them food, we saw that they also needed other services as well. So we began to help them with those services, whether it's providing services to the homeless population
Right.
that need to get walked through the 1-800 process.
Mhm.
Because when people are homeless, they can no longer just go to a shelter
Right.
and getting like that directly, especially in Miami. I don't know about the other parts of the country, but they have to make that phone call. So we walk them through that process of making that phone call and getting in and getting the help that they need. If the beds happen to be available,
Right.
with a lot of times there are very few beds available. We also help them with the process for access, meaning food stamps or kids care, other type of services like that. We can help them to enroll. We will do the enrollment for them.
Okay.
Whatever the services is that they need, we are here because a lot of times people need help, but they don't know where to go. So
Right.
we are that one-stop shop
Mhm.
that provides wraparound services. Maybe they need other type of help. We will connect them with other nonprofits or the right government official to call in
Right.
case that they are having a problem.
Okay.
So that's a lot about what we do. If they're going for a job and they're in a homeless program, I will provide free hair care for them. We will also give them clothing so that they can go looking presentable and
Right.
dress for that interview.
Right.
And we will help them. We also provide on-the-job training. They could come and volunteer. We would teach you how to do data entry, computer filing, warehouse work. We have different programs here that we can help them with so far as that is concerned. And that's what it's all about, showing people that, you don't have to give up on life no matter how hard it looks or how hard it is, that we are here to provide those services. We also give out Pampers.
Mhm.
We have a lot of young mothers here in our community that are under 30 that have 9 and 10 kids.
Right. Right.
So they really need the help. And that's what it's all about. It's all about ministry and just encouraging people to keep pushing and keep trying, in spite of what your situation look like. Just hold on, and keep the faith, keep believing, and don't give up.
And that is probably the most crucial aspect of anything, is to keep the hope alive. I can actually speak from experience. I was homeless for quite some time, and I fought and clawed my way out of that. Now I'm actually doing quite well. But I've been there where you don't know where your next meal's coming from, where you don't know where you're going to sleep at night, or any of that. And it is scary, it is depressing, and it does make you want to give up. So I appreciate you being there for the people of your community, to give them that hope, to give them that little bit of sunshine, to know that they can work their way out of it. And that's
Right.
great.
Right. Because sometimes when you're seeking resources, it can be so discouraging,
Hmm.
so heartbreaking.
It
You're
is.
already going through, and then you have to come and ask someone for help, can feel so degrading and so
Mhm.
humiliating. And we just want to remove that out of the way and let them know that, hey, we are here. We walking in love. We're not here to condemn. We're
Right,
not here to pass judgment on you because of your situation. But
right,
we are here to encourage you,
right.
to
And
let you know to continue to be strong, because tomorrow's always another day.
well, exactly. And that's the biggest thing that most people really need, regardless of what challenges they're facing. And even, well, any challenge is that encouragement that you can do it. And that is very meaningful for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. And that's where we can come together as a community, not just an individual, but as a community, to offer that encouragement to other people in our community and lift them up instead of holding them down.
Exactly. We also see in my community, it's a lot of homeless seniors.
Right.
And that in itself is very heartbreaking, because, a lot of these people have really worked hard and sacrificed to be able to make it as far in life as
Right.
they did. But somewhere along, they had a disconnect.
Yeah.
It was a disconnection, and some of these people are very intelligent,
Oh, they are.
very intelligent.
They are.
And now they're staying on the street, and it's and so we're just here for 'em. A lot of days we give them box for our homeless population. We'll provide them with a meal,
Right.
preferably pop top cans that they can pop the
Mhm.
top, or sandwiches, whether it's peanut butter sandwiches or turkey. We always try to give them healthy stuff, and
Right.
fruits and vegetables, and clothing when they need it, personal care items, hygiene items when they need it, but also a word of encouragement as
Right.
well.
Right.
And we
Um,
have a lot of veterans,
right.
that return from war, come back, or whatever it was that they went through overseas, and they come back, and you know they program them how to go to war and how to go to battle. But when they come back, they're not being deprogrammed.
Right.
So a lot of them are having problems coming back and entering into this, what the new normal is. It's not
Mhm.
working for them.
Right. Right. Um, what are some things that pretty much anybody can do to help get our younger generations kind of involved in taking action, also in helping the communities that they live in? I see a lot, and I'm not saying that all of them are, but I do see a lot of the younger generation that just aren't involved in their communities at all. They're isolated in themselves, and that's really, I mean, they're the future. They're what's going to carry our legacy on. How can we approach them and start getting them more involved in their communities, more involved in taking steps to help better their communities?
Well, with our generation, and I mean people in our age group,
Mm-hmm.
when we came, the way we grew up, we played with other kids in the
Right.
community. I mean, we played tag, football, kickball, baseball.
Yeah.
We were outside,
Yeah.
playing with the other kids. These kids these days, a lot of them are not into that. They're into the video games, whether it's
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto or Mortal Kombat, and God knows they have so many games. I mean, they have social media,
Right.
so they're into TikTok and these other social media
Mm-hmm.
platforms that they really don't have to interact, with other
Right.
kids the way that we did. And also when we grew up, we knew our neighbors.
Well, exactly. We did.
We knew our neighbors. I was next door with my neighbors. A lot of them were older people. I was always over there helping them clean up their house, helping them cut their grass and doing different chores and things around the house. I was
Right.
that type of kid. Yeah, I played with the other kids, but I made sure that the seniors in my community were taken care of as
Mm-hmm.
well. I was there for them.
Right.
I always been that type. So um we have a lot of work to do
Yes, we
with
do.
this
We do.
new millennia
Mm-hmm.
generation of kids,
Right.
because we believed in working.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
We did.
we believed in working. We wanted to be able to turn 18 and get your driver's license and buy a car and
Right.
then buy a home and that type of stuff. But a lot of them, they are so much into social media and TV, and they are watching it, the rappers and all of these
Mm-hmm.
people that are creating a picture of their reality, which actually does not exist.
Right.
Like they're telling them, okay, you're gonna be a basketball player or be a football player, but of course, everybody's not gonna be that superstar.
No, they're not.
Everybody's not gonna be a basketball player. Everybody's not going to be a football player. Everybody is not going to be a rapper,
Right.
you know. But you need to find out whatever your talent is, whatever your gift is, and you work on that.
Well,
And you do
exactly.
the most for it. But what they could do, they could get involved with their local community.
Mm-hmm.
There are always a lot of nonprofits around that really need help, because a lot of us, we operate off of volunteers.
Right.
Get involved with your local nonprofits. Get involved with your local government, and or whatever it is, your school, or the boys clubs, or your local programs and
Mm-hmm.
stuff that are in your community. Get involved in the process.
Right. Right. Exactly. And honestly, that's what we need. Not just the younger in our community, but that's what we need everybody in our community to get involved, to get out there and to give to something larger than yourself. Um, I mean, we become so busy, so self isolated, and, and it's regardless of age. There's a lot of people that are our age that are very isolated, that are very self serving, for lack of a better word. And really, they're not. They're not selfish. They're not any of that. It's just they don't. It doesn't affect them, so they don't see the need for them to be involved. And
Right.
what they
And that
don't realize is that it does affect them. may not directly affect them, but it does indirectly affect them. And if they step
Exactly.
up and teach some of their skills and pass on their knowledge to others in their community, we might have a lot less homelessness. We might have a lot less people having to rely on food banks. Okay, and I think food banks are great because they're generally community oriented, they're community ran, and the people in the community actually get behind them. So I think food banks are incredible, and I think they are provided an awesome service. What I'd like to see is less government involvement and more community involvement. If our communities actually stepped up in a lot of these areas, we wouldn't need the government to be involved. And if we don't need the government to be involved in this stuff, then our communities can actually do what's best for their communities and not be mandated to do what the government tells them to do. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
So that's what I would actually like to see, and that's why I'd like to get people more involved in their communities and so forth. And I think it's great that you are so active and so involved in your community. You're leading by example, and that's incredible. And that's why I think you'd make a great congressional member because you do lead by example. You don't forget your community because
Right.
you know that that community is what's needed to actually bring our country around.
Right. I mean, the prime example would be when you take a look at California,
Hmm.
and like Skid Row and those homeless people that are staying out there in the streets. A lot of them just sometimes people just need simple, just a little push to
Right.
get on that right track.
Exactly.
Just that little push. Sometimes it doesn't take much. So when you have a place like Skid Row and you have a person that's concerned about people, it's especially here in the United States with the vast resources that we have, it's no way that place should look like that.
No, it shouldn't. And the reason why I think a lot of those places do look like that is people say, look to themselves. Well, that's somebody else's problem. Let the government take care of it. No, it's not somebody else's problem. It's your problem. Okay. I don't care if you live in a rat infested apartment or if you live in a multi-million dollar mansion. Okay. The problem is there. Okay. The problem is your problem. It's not somebody else's problem to take care of. So get involved.
Exactly.
So, um,
Yes.
what brought you about to seek to become a member of the House of Representatives?
Well, anytime you're working as I am with
Mhm.
the nonprofit, when you're also working with your local government, your local officials, it goes hand in hand together. There's no
Right.
way around it. And working with them and just needing their help and support, and I know that you see them when they're running for
Mhm.
office. I know that they use this community, when they are running for office, and other than that, you really don't see them. You really don't hear too much from
Right.
them. So all of that was factored
Hmm.
and a reason that pushed me to run for U.S. Congress,
Right.
especially when I take a look at what I see that's going on now, and
Hmm.
that fight that's inside of me, and that fire
Right.
that is inside of me that really gets turned up, you
Hmm.
know, um, it's much needed right about now.
Right. No, I.
Because when you have people in Congress that are so anti America,
Mm-hmm.
so much against the United States and
Right.
against this country. What's the purpose of them representing us in Congress?
I could not agree more. I have to question when these people do take office, why? If they have that much contempt for this country, why did they even run for office?
It, it's just unbelievable.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. So you are actually working to make change, and that
Yes.
is incredible. Um, and I want to thank not only you, but I want to thank all the members of your staff, that the volunteers, the people that come in there day after day and provide the hope that so many of us need. They're all incredible. I know that it tends to affect communities of color a lot more than it does white communities, and that is regrettable. I don't know that it's necessarily a problem of. Initially, I do believe it was a problem of racism, and that it did bring about a certain level of isolation to Black communities and communities of color. But I don't think that's the only reason. I don't think that's the reason so much today on why the communities of color are impacted so heavily. Um, what do you think is
Well, well, when you're talking about communities of color, you have to factor in that most of our people that represent us
mhm,
look like us.
right? I agree.
You
I
have to factor that point in. So to me, that speaks volume
mm,
because when you are in office, whether it's city, state, local officials, you have so much power to make
right.
changes into your bring the changes into your community,
Hmm. You do.
whether it's for better or whether it's for worse.
Hmm.
You have that type of power. So, you know, like you said, our communities are facing a lot of hardship. So you can't blame the white man for that if your elected officials are Black.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And like I said, with Jim Crow laws, with redlining and stuff like that, yeah, initially, absolutely, it was racist. Okay, and they basically corral Blacks into these segmented areas. But we've gotten beyond that. Okay, and you elect your own representation. So are they electing people that are actually helping them, or are they electing people that are actually hurting them?
Well, a lot of times I feel like they're just self-serving.
Right. I can agree with that. In fact, I think a good majority of our Congress is self-serving, and that is one of the biggest problems in our country.
It
Um,
is.
and that's one of the reasons why I want less government involvement. I want more community involvement, because communities tend to take care of themselves. They really do, if they are allowed to.
Just like the article yesterday with AOC. You know, how you gonna blame Trump for the problems that are going on at your grandmother's house?
Right. Yeah.
How's that his fault? That's your grandmother. You should have been glad to go and help your grandmother out.
Exactly.
That's your grandmother.
Exactly. And if you can't even go and help your own grandmother, what's that say for your helping your community?
But you want to turn around and blame someone else?
Right. No, that's not right. That's not, yeah. And that's actually, I think you hit the heart of the problem is everybody wants to blame somebody else.
Excuse me?
I think that's I think you hit the nail on the head. Everybody
Yes.
wants to blame somebody else. Okay, instead of being accountable for the issues that we find ourselves in. And I'm as much to blame as anybody else in not being involved. It was really for a long period of my life. I said, well, it doesn't affect me, so why am I going to get involved? I hate politics. Um, I don't, why? And then a few years ago, it dawned on me why. Okay. Because if I'm not involved, it's going to continue and it's going to get worse. So the only way that we can effectively make change is by each one of us actually getting involved and bettering our communities, bettering our neighborhoods, bettering our households. That's where we really got to start is in our households, and then work out.
Exactly. Exactly. Everyone needs to get involved, you know. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. So,
Right.
also I remember back in the day, in our neighborhood, if the neighbor didn't have had a need, they could come and knock on somebody's door.
Yeah, they could. They
Excuse
could.
me. And
And
that person would help them.
and
Oh,
and today you don't have that. You
you
don't
don't.
you don't have
We
that
don't.
feeling that you can go over and say to your neighbor, "Hey, I've got to run to the store. Can you watch my kids for just a few minutes?" You can't do that. You can't
No.
go over to your neighbor and say, "Hey, I ran out of sugar. I won't be able to make it to the store next week. I'll borrow a cup of sugar." Okay, that was commonplace, and your neighbor would
Yes.
gladly, if they had it, they would gladly give it to you.
If they had
Okay, and
extra
not
food,
expect anything in return.
right.
Uh, Again, I can't emphasize much how much I respect everything that you're doing in your community. How much I expect all of the volunteers involved.
Excuse me.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, okay? Because
Okay.
I know you've got a lot to do. You've got very,
Yeah.
and I do appreciate the time that you've taken out to sit down with us and have this discussion.
Sorry.
Please let people know how they can find out more about you and how they can get in touch and
Okay.
step up and help.
Okay, you can find out more about my organization. The name of it, excuse me, is Curly's House, Hope Relief
Right.
Food. I gotta get some water.
Okay.
And the web page is Curly's House,
Right.
um, foodbank.org.
Okay.
And you could go to the website to find out more about us.
Right.
And you can also donate to the program
Okay.
if you would like. And also, my campaign page is spicerforcongress.com.
Okay.
You can go up there to find out more about me. And you can also make a donation if you would like.
Right. Okay. I will make sure that all those links are in our show notes. Okay.
Okay.
And write up a little bit of an article for this. And make sure that people have access to get in touch with you. Okay. And maybe come in and volunteer. And sit there and help some people out. So
Yes.
thank you very much for your time, Lavern.
Thank you, Michael, so much for inviting me on.
It was awesome. It was great talking to you, and
Yes,
maybe we
thank
can
you.
do this again in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside.